Hello, welcome to this week's update. Some very exciting news to bring you, as you would have seen by the title, plus some other news from Airfix and just a roundup of what's been going on the channel and modelling. On the channel then, last week, part one of the Spitfire TR9 from Airfix in 48 scale, that went up. That was a relatively quick introduction, and then the cockpit. Part 2 is already uploaded. I'm actually ahead of the curve. That is just dealing with the construction, so it's not an overly long video because the model just falls together, frankly. That goes up on Sunday at 4 o'clock UK time, so you can go and check that out. And then the week after, the last Sunday, is going to be the final part, which is the painting and weathering, which I'm halfway through editing already. So ahead of the curve, which is really exciting. Other stuff that's coming on the channel. So when that project is finished on the channel, we're into review time, and I've got a number of reviews and on test for you that's coming. I've got my new airbrush, the H&S Infinity 2024. There's no actual spraying in that video. I just talk about the airbrush. I actually disassemble it, put it back together again, talk about some quirks is the wrong word. Just talk about some of the features that are unique to that particular airbrush and H&S compared to other ones, such as a Wata that I'm very, very used to. The reason I didn't film any spraying with it is because my few previous projects, are using that airbrush. So I just point viewers in the direction of those if they've not seen them. So that's the Armour Hobby Hawk 75, which had a freehand camo using MRP, using that airbrush, and the Spitfire TR9, and the forthcoming Mark 14 conversion in 32nd scale, all using that airbrush. Obviously that's not going to be for a few weeks yet, that latter project, but it's just a fabulous airbrush, and I'm so glad I got it. I'm a convert now to H&S. I think it's fantastic. I've had a few people ask me, because they knew the review was coming, what should I buy it, blah blah blah. I'm not here to say you must go out and buy one now, it's brilliant, because I know some people don't like H&S and they don't get on with it. My advice would be, if you've got a friend or someone at your model club that has got a H&S airbrush, ask them to bring it along and then just have a little play with it and see what you think before you go out and buy it. But if you've got a few airbrush models under your belt, no doubt you'll be able to cope with it. It's nothing particularly difficult. It's just some people don't get with it, which is absolutely fine. I think it's very user friendly. So that's that one. The other one I've got is the VMS primer video. This is it. I've got black, white, and this is the grey one. It's actually quite a dark grey, I will say. I was a bit daft, really, because I shouldn't have bought the grey one. If I've got black and white, I've got any shade of grey I like. But I thought I'd get it anyway. So I tested out on the new paint mule, which is here. And you see it's in camouflage, or not camouflage, it's been painted. I'll go through that in a minute. But I did white on this wing, black on this wing, and then the grey in the middle. I test masking, I test polishing, I test sanding as well, and yeah, it's quite a good video. All you need to know really about the VMS primers. Is it going to replace my go-to, which is Tamiya Surface Extra, or was it Extra Surface Fine Primer, or just Fine Surface Primer, that one, the grey? The answer is no, and I explain why in the video, but it is really, really good. So that's the primer video, that's coming to you, and then the last one is the MRP Aqua. So I've got them in the box here. I've got 3 boxes of 6, so that's 18 colours. The entire British Second World War colours, well, and Cold War actually. That's why this is kind of multicoloured. I've even done a roundel on there. So that one's coming to you. Beautiful paint. If you are an acrylic user, it's you know, obviously I'm a fanboy of Ammo and their Atom acrylic paints, which are absolutely superb, I have to say. Is this stuff better than the Atom paint? Yes, in some respects. No, in other respects. So I do a complete test. I test out the colours, thinning ratios. I even do a bit of brush painting, underside. I paint it on a non-prime surface, prime surface, the different colours, polished primer, neat primer. I thin it, I spray it neat, and yeah, give it a really good workout. What I have done after that is I've, because here there's a bit of damage on the wing, you might be able to see. That's because after about, well, at the end of the test, I decided to do a bit of wet polishing with a bit of Trizect on micro mesh, and it kind of dissolved the paint because it is water-based, and you really ought to use water as a bit of a lubricant on that one. So it hadn't properly cured. This stuff dries incredibly quickly. It is shiny, as you can see, just like their what do you call it? Their lacquers. Lost the word then off the top of my head. Yeah, so it is as shiny as their lacquers, but you can brush paint it, as evidenced by the medium sea grey here and the tyre black here. So you can brush paint it. It sprays lovely, hard, eggshell type, shiny finish to it. But if you are going to polish it and wet sand it, I would wait a bit, probably overnight, to be absolutely sure if you're going to use any wet sanding. Other than that, I do a masking test on it, thumbprint test on it, and for an acrylic, it dries incredibly quickly. It's just not proper fully cured, so don't use like I say, don't use water if you're going to polish it that quickly. You know, wait overnight. But yeah, massive thank you to Ed at Premium Hobbies who sent me them for review. Slight apology, he sent them for review a little while ago. I just haven't got around to doing it. And now I've tested it out. I didn't want to do it on the Spitfire conversion because, you know, I'm not going to test a brand new paint system on a big project and an involved project like that. So that's painted with Tamiya colours, which are fantastic. I just wanted to give it a proper test first, but I will be using these paints on a project going forward. I'm not sure. Maybe a certain Hampton. When that comes out, whenever that will be. Right, so the 3 reviews then will go up in order, one a week after the Spitfire TR9. That will give me time to edit the Spitfire video. Also, I've got the missus and daughter number 1 coming out to visit in a few weeks' time for a week. So there's going to be nothing then. So that will keep you going over that period. And then in November, so middle of November, it'll be the 32nd scale Spitfire project, which is going to free me up to do another project. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to start Dallas Hornet. I've got a Airfix kit up there that I'm going to rivet. So I'm going to do that in the background, but the next project you're going to see on the channel is probably going to be a 32nd scale Hornet. I'm going to caveat, if I can get a hold of, if friend of the channel Andy can get the new Edward Avia S199 hybrid out, or if you can get that in the post so it arrives with Julie before she flies out, hopefully she can bring that out with her if there's, you know, she hasn't packed too many shoes and outfits. She's only coming for a week. I'd have a backpack, but, you know, ladies. Then I'm going to get that straight on the bench to you because I'm really intrigued by this hybrid system, and I know you lot are too. So that's that. Right, on with the news then. 2 things to bring you. First thing is Airfix. I'm looking down at my phone here because I've got the gouge in my phone. I didn't use my notebook. Airfix have dropped a surprise kit announcement. It's not a brand new tool, it's a modified tooling of their 1/72nd scale Mosquito, which is a fantastic kit. It's got some issues with it. Unfortunately, they when they did their research and they scanned the one, I believe it was the one at Cosford, which I think might be a trainer version, they assumed that the Bombay was correct for the version that they released. Was that a 16? I can't remember. Yeah, a little bit inaccurate around there. And apparently, I'm not a mosquito guy, the landing gear is a bit too narrow. And there's a few kind of the strengthening airframey bits, external raised detail stuff that could have been done better. In this one, I don't know if they've modified the landing gear. I suspect not, but they have done some new marks. So the Mark 16, so the B Mark 16, the B Mark 35, and the TT 35. So I'm wondering if the one that they did before was the TT 35, which I think is the one that's painted up as a bomber in Cosford. I think. I might be wrong. Someone will let me know in the comments, I'm sure. Some brilliant schemes. Well, two of the schemes are brilliant. One I think is a little bit bland. So the TT35, that's target tug. You get all the extra target tug bits and bobs for that particular variant. And lovely scheme in the kind of silver, high-speed silver. Obviously, it's not natural metal because it's a wooden aeroplane. Silver lacquer finish with the yellow and black stripes underneath, which is really eye-catching. That is fabulous. And there's one in ocean grey and green over medium sea grey. That's the sort of standard camouflage. That one's a bit bland for me, which I'm wondering if that is the 16. I don't know. And then the last one is, I really like the post-war scheme of the medium sea grey on the top and then the black underneath. That's really cool. So I'm going to guess that that's the B35. No idea. Now, before I started filming this, I should have done my research and said, well, the Special Hobby, they've got theirs out, and I can't remember what mark that is. So maybe this is the same, maybe this is different. There is one massive, I'm not going to use the phrase fatal flaw, accuracy issue with the Special Hobby kit, and that is the fuselage is too fat. Noticeably so. I've got the Night Fighter version, was that the Mark 30? And the reason it caught my eye was the Belgian scheme. I love a Belgian scheme, as you know. And so I've got that with a few of the bits and pieces, masking set, and I think I may have got maybe some wheels or exhausts or photo etch or something to go with it. And when I learned that the fuselage was too fat, and noticeably so, it's really put me off. And someone said, well, you can use the wings from that kit to put on the fuselage of the Airfix kit, and that fixes some of the surface detail issues, and that sorts out the landing gear, which is much better, much more accurate in the Airfix kit. That seems quite an expensive option to me when Barracuda Studios does a landing gear set or undercart set for the Airfix kit, and amongst other things. So, yeah, I don't really know what to do. Am I going to get this one? I don't know. I'm severely tempted, I must say, but I've got so much other stuff to do. I don't know. I'm going to sit on my hands and see how I plough through the stash before I make a decision. But certainly three really, really great variants there. Two fabulous schemes to my eye. The third one's not a bad scheme. It's just a bit standard. The others are really something quite different and nice. So that's Airfix. The major news, I guess, is Tamiya new tool kit, which is always mega exciting. They've just announced a 1/72nd scale F-14D Tomcat. I love the way Tamiya do this, where they don't announce anything until it's pretty much ready to go, and then they just drop it, and they are masters at keeping these things a secret. And yeah, and it's always completely out the blue. I think it's an absolute no-brainer that they're going to do the other variants, the A and the B as well, or the A plus as well. It's Tamiya. It's going to be phenomenal. It really is. The right, let me just get some gouge because right, here we go. No, that's not the gouge. Oh, I can't find it now. What an idiot. I'm trying to do it from memory now. Right, all the schemes that you get are cagbird, so they're all going to be really, really bright. Obviously, there is a plethora of aftermarket sheets out there already. I know it comes with crew as well. Let's just have a look at the pictures, actually. Does it come with drop flaps and slats? I don't think it does. No. Flaps and slats retracted, which, to be honest, that's what I prefer. Wings can be in various sweep positions. Obviously, with the sort of inflatable bladder thing down the back, you're not going to be able to sweep the wings backwards and forwards and change it. You're going to have to decide on one. I think it looks really cool, wings swept forward, and if I get one, I'm going to do it in that scheme. Excuse me, that's my brunch. I have the Great Wall Hobby one in the stash that I'm intending to do at some point after Christmas. That is going to be the last project in a publication I'm working on. So I'm going to stick with my Great Wall Hobby one. I'm not going to get this one. If the A comes out, I might be tempted to get the A and then do it in a Royal Navy what if scheme. Extra dark sea grey over white. I think that'd be quite cool, actually, because I've done the Academy one. In fact, the Academy F-14 might have been the first ever project I did on the channel. Certainly one of the first couple. So pop over and see that if you like. Probably a bit cringeworthy in how I film it and narrate it and all that kind of stuff. I've learned a lot since then. So it's going to be interesting. And sorry, that I did as a what if as well. That I did as a 25 Squadron one because I flew Tornado F3 on 25 Squadron and I thought that would be quite cool. I quite fancy the A, like I say, in the kind of retro Fleet Air Arm scheme. I'm severely tempted by that. But you know, when we see the A, who knows? They tend to the F-35 variants they kind of smashed out relatively promptly, but then F-16, we've only ever had one variant of the F-16 in 72nd scale. The F-4, we've only had the B in 48 scale, and they stopped. Yet they've done a whole series in 48th on the F-14. And the F-35. Maybe the F-4 didn't sell as well as they were hoping. I don't know. Certainly lots on YouTube and magazines and forums and all that kind of stuff. And I'm actually quite tempted by that F-4B, I must say. But there we are. Yeah, always mega exciting that Tamiya, when they drop a new announcement of a new toolkit, it really does create an awful lot of excitement, especially if it's something like an F-14. And who'd have thought? No one saw it coming. Out the blue, drop. How amazing is that? It's going to be a beautiful kit. They said in their gouge, this is on the Tamiya USA site, that they've learnt from the 48th scale one and they've incorporated those lessons into this. So it's going to be even better than the 48 scale one, of which I've built. And that is a beautiful kit. So this is going to be a beautiful kit as well. You know, mega highly detailed out the box. And no doubt there's going to be a plethora of aftermarket. I can almost hear ResKit rubbing their hands already. No doubt there's already a bloke sat there in Ukraine designing stuff for it as we speak. Just brilliant. So well done, Tamiya. That's really cool. Right. I kind of saved that till last because, yeah, it's really, really very exciting. Am I going to buy one? Not immediately. Maybe in the future. Like I say, maybe when the A comes out, because I've already got the Great Wall Hobby one to do. But, yeah, I'm sure it's going to fly off the shelves. Right, there we are. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for tuning in. Hopefully next week I might have a little bit of modelling progress to show you in next week's show, so keep your eye out on Facebook, Instagram, blah, Scale Modelling Cafe. Do the YouTube thing, you know, click here, subscribe, blah, scrints and flip. and do all that usual stuff. And keep your eye out on the channel. Lots of really interesting product tests, reviews, and modelling projects to come. So I'll see you there. Cheers. Bye-bye.